Welcome to Rock Club's record album review of Rush Moving Pictures. My name is Kevin Zeeden, and I'm a lifelong music fan. I'd like to think that I've gained some musical wisdom over my 50 years of listening to, performing, and studying music from among my many favorite artists. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to my Rock Club channel, as I intend to review another monumental album each week. Now, I grew up with classic rock bands like Led Zeppelin, Kiss, Boston. I watched his new wave bands like Duran Duran hit big on MTV and shows like Friday Night Videos. I witnessed the evolution of alternative rock, hair metal, and the rise of grunge. So I'll give you my perspective on epic rock albums spanning these years. I hope I can pass along this knowledge to my daughters, Sky and Ava, whose playlists include tunes from my record collection and also from my first generation iPod here, still have it. Also, folks at work who heard my playlists and they commented, wow, this is cool stuff. I've never heard this before. Music has changed so much. Tell me more about these great bands. So I'm hoping Generation Z can learn from my knowledge of these great artists and bands. I'm reviewing the artists' albums in their formatted order as they were originally intended to be listened to, so keep in mind these are my opinions. Feel free to comment, agree, disagree, tell me what you think. I remember where I was the first time I saw a picture of Neil Peart. We were in the back of the middle school bus when Ron unrolled this poster of Rush. Ron was older than me. He liked to sit in his black lit bedroom, smoke some pot, and listen to Rush albums. The poster that he had was of the band performing during their 2112 album tour. At the time, I had no idea who they were. All I knew was that the drum set looked amazing. And there's this guy behind this wall of black drums, a double kick drum set with these strange pentagrams on the front. And he was surrounded on all sides by various tom-toms, chimes, this huge gong. And being the young, impressionable drummer that I was, I asked excitedly, who is this guy? And Ron replied, that's the best drummer on the planet. That's Neil Peart. And I heard a little bit about Rush before this, I guess, that they were a prog rock band from Canada. They had opened for Kiss back in the mid-70s and had this cool tune that I heard on the radio called Fly By Night. But I really never had bought a Rush album, but that would soon all change. When I first heard the song Tom Sawyer on the radio the spring of 1981, I was totally blown away. The drumming was amazing. The synths were really cool sounding. The guitar solo was trippy. These high-pitched vocals were intense. So on my next trip to Ridgedale Mall, I bought the cassette tape of Rush Moving Pictures at Musicland, and along the way I stopped in at Piccadilly Circus video game arcade to play a little Galaga. And I was sipping on an ice-cold orange Julius, of course. But I digress. Released February 12, 1981, Moving Pictures was Rush's 8th studio album, making a conscious effort to shorten their songs in order to receive more radio airplay. And this paid off big for the Canadian-born band, and the album exploded in the United States, also selling big in Canada and the UK. Rush is an amazing trio of musicians, each a master craftsman in their respective instrumental field. Geddy Lee plays bass, synthesizers, he sings incredible lead vocals, and he's also playing these foot pedals all at once, by the way. Alex Lifeson plays 12-string, 6-string, not only acoustic, but electric guitars, and also these Moog Taurus pedals. And then, of course, there's Neil Peart, the professor, as he was known, right? He plays drums and an impressive array of percussion consisting of orchestra bells, timbales, gongs, glockenspiel, wind chimes, belltree, crotales, cowbell. Geez, you got all that? Neil Peart was also the lyricist for most, if not all, of Rush's song. So the album opens with probably the band's most epic song of all. Of course, I'm talking about Tom Sawyer. This was also the third single released off the album. Neil Peart has been quoted as saying that this song was his most challenging to play live in concert. One listen and it's hard to argue that fact. The drums absolutely propel the song. His fills throughout are stuff of legend. Geddy Lee not only sings lead, but he's playing bass and all the synthesizer parts as well, with various effects pedals. And then Alex Lifeson really gets a chance to shine with a face-melting guitar solo. A few years back, I made a video of myself performing this song along to the album. I gave it my best shot anyway. I'll link the video in the comments below. Feel free to let me know what you think, and also what you think of my long hair back then. Who knew a song about a car could be so cool? Track 2 of side 1 is Red Barchetta. Here Neil Peart gives us a narrative of heading out to his uncle's country home to race his Red Barchetta, a vintage Ferrari 166mm sports car. It is an intricately woven song, complete with screeching car tire sound effects. The band is humming along in absolute cohesion at times. The tune will make your heartbeat race almost as if you're in a speeding race car. I love the harmonic guitar part that Alex Lifeson plays also in the intro and again near the end. It may be my favorite song off the album. Track 3, side 1, is the epic jam fest of an instrumental, YYZ. The intro is based on the tapping rhythm of Morse code. The tapping rhythm of the Morse code for the Toronto Pearson International Airport. These guys were from up in Toronto, right? Up in Canada. The band uses special effects in the song, like the sound of smashing glass bottles. At times, there's this extended drum solo in the middle, captured most excellently on their live album, Exit Stage Right. Is one for the ages, an absolute shredder with various themes and parts throughout. Each member gets a chance to shine, with Geddy adding tasty bass fills and Alex getting a wild Middle Eastern sounding guitar solo as well. Track 4, side 1, was the epic tune Limelight, which was the first single released off the album. It was all over FM radio in the spring of 1981. Limelight has become truly a fan favorite. Peart floats effortlessly between 4/4 and 3/4 time signatures. His lyrics are great as well, writing about his dissatisfaction with fame and all of its trappings that go along with it. I'm especially fond of the line, "Can't believe a stranger is a long-awaited friend." I saw the band during their Snakes and Arrows tour in 2007. They were amazing to see live, sounding great, just almost as if it was right off the album. And they were great visually. Oh, and they have a great sense of humor too. They were cracking jokes between songs and had these little video montages. Sadly, the professor Neil Peart passed away. He had a battle with brain cancer. He passed away in 2020, and who can replace him, right? The band hasn't toured since, hasn't played since. They're not going to replace him. So I was just lucky enough to be able to have seen them live. So track 2, side 2, track 1 opens with the tune The Camera Eye. You have this sound of a cityscape. It's actually a 2-part track with the sections unofficially titled New York and London. Here, Peart's lyrics reflect how he felt being immersed when he visited both of those huge metropolises. Alex really gets to shine again with his shredding guitar solo in the end of what was called the London section of that song. So track 2, side 2, is the mysterious tune Witch Hunt. The listener is pulled in by the haunting intro. hearing these many voices and sounds like a vigilante mob. Then you've got Neil's tom-tom rhythms, boom, 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 pounding away at first. The repeating melody line kind of sears into the listener's soul. Then the song builds and builds into this gigantic wall of sound. It's really an underrated song off the album for sure. The last song on the album is Vital Signs, which was the second single from the album as well. There's this very cool sequenced synthesizer part in the intro. Neil Peart starts off triggering these electronic drums before kicking into his regular acoustic drums and creating a really nice reggae style beat. The band was heavily influenced by the reggae musings of the Police during this time. Peart would also be one of the early pioneers of electronic drums, combining not only electronic drums into his setup with his acoustics and all of his other percussion. He kept those electronic drums as part of his setup for years to come. So it's the song is a real nice bookend to this amazing album. So Rush, Moving Pictures became the band's biggest selling album in the United States, selling over 5 million copies and sending aspiring young musicians like me to the woodshed to try and emulate these challenging and memorable songs like Tom Sawyer, Limelight, and YYZ. So thanks again for tuning in, and look for more Rokk Club record album reviews in the near future. Peace.